Yo, 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 what's going on, world? It's your boy Sams once again here with the gents, the gentlemen. My man Color is everything. Rob, what's up?
Welcome. Good to be here, man. Nice seeing you.
All right. I am Legend. I see you here.
Yeah, yo, what's up?
All right. So we had a nice little break, family time, Easter. I actually wanted to do a show on Easter because I wanted to talk about something, some religious stuff, but we could save that for another topic. Religion and comic books. We'll talk.
Okay.
I think Kamala Khan. That's what comes to mind. Is that her
name? Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
But as of right now, what I really want to talk about, when we want to just dive right into it. For those who don't know, for those who are joining for the first time, this is That Comic Show. This is a weekly podcast where we just talk about things with Marvel, DC, other comic book properties. Sometimes we touch on social issues. Sometimes we touch on political issues, all in the realm of comic book. All right, so that's where we want to kind of keep things, and that's where we want to kind of keep our conversation and our focus. So tonight, I've been dying to talk to these guys about this particular topic in this particular show, Falcon, Winter Soldier. Right. That is what I've been chomping at the bit to get to that. Episode 4. We have 4 episodes in. I haven't talked to y'all since it came out. So far,
yeah, that's wild.
We're more than halfway through.
That's
where we at?
Wow. Yeah, that's true. The first time we were supposed to talk about it, we totally went on this Zack Snyder ring. So this is the first time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's wow. Okay. Yeah.
So how you guys want to do it? Break down by episode or just overall?
Let's do overall, and then let's talk about episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Legend. I'm usually the talker, man. What you got?
Okay, I'll start off then. No problem.
Before you start off, Legend, let me bring in another person. Like I said, fashionably late.
You know me well, bro.
What's up, Deceptively Awesome? What's going on, bro?
Not much. How you guys doing?
Good,
awesome.
Good.
So you just in time. Iron Legend is going to kick it off. We're talking about Winter Soldier. I keep saying Winter Soldier. Falcon and Winter Soldier. I gotta stop doing that because Falcon is the star of the show. But so that's what we kicking off with. I Am Legend was about to take the floor, and then you came in. So I Am Legend.
Okay, so overall feeling of Falcon and Winter Soldier, I have to tell you guys, I'm probably gonna be like, I didn't like it at first. I have to tell you, I didn't like the beginning, the episode 1. I thought it was okay. I thought it was just like a action popcorn type of show going on. I'm like, it's not gonna be one of those where it's not gonna be nothing to grasp at. After coming off of WandaVision, I'm all totally into like the whole weird type of style. You know what I'm saying? So the first episode, I thought it was cool. It had some action in it. Didn't really like it. We didn't even see the Falcon and Winter Soldier together yet, so we didn't have that dynamic. The second episode introduces the Winter Soldier and Falcon together. I really like the way they play off each other. I like the fight scenes. That, of course, that was the truck fight scene, I believe. The highway scene. Thought that was amazing. That was great. The third episode, is that where we get to Isaiah Bradley, I believe?
Yep. That was the third episode.
That turned this whole series around for me. That interaction, introducing him, his
don't go into too much detail on that.
Okay,
we gotta get that proper attention.
Okay, so third episode is when I started liking the show, I should say. I felt like, they have a plan. They're going somewhere with this. I like how they introducing some bad characters. The fourth episode blew me away. Thought it was great. I think we got one of the best Captain Americas we ever seen. Now I'll let somebody else take it away from there.
Color is everything. What you think, bro?
Yeah, I know. I love the fact that we could be ourselves on the show. Like, I Am Legend. What are you talking about? The first episode was like, what are you talking about, Chief? That's, you know what? I'm gonna put my counselor hat on real quick. Yo, you can't take yesterday's expectations and carry it over to today's circumstances. That's where disappointment comes. Like, it's not WandaVision, and that's the first thing. I came in with like wanting to see it see it for itself. I'd be lying if I said that there wasn't some points. I'm like, I'm a little concerned where this is going. But there was enough there in that first episode that got me, particularly to see the Falcon like be the Falcon like in flight. That was, to me, that was everything, right? To see that whole flight scene, I think finally it's about time we see this man like be a bird, right? Like he's supposed to be dope. He was so dope that like his wingman died and not him. So you see those skills play off, right? The fact that this man just was using air at one point because his jet was out. So now he's just using like learning how to ride the pockets of air. Is basically a human glider. That was dope. But then we talking about story and themes. We covering story and themes. Like there were some things inside here that I'm like, I see what y'all trying to say. Okay. I mean, even this homeboy black man, the only real, it's not true. Sorry, Rody. Well, no, I mean he's the dude that's not really in the Air Force, not really working for anybody. That bank scene was everything for me. Like that's life, right? That's what. Oh, so you want my autograph right now?
Well, man, come on,
okay. But I'm just like, so my
too into
overall,
detail.
I'm loving it. I'm loving the direction. I'm loving the story. I'm seeing the plot drops. I mean, there are a couple of things I called out. Wife is like, "How you know that?" I was like, "Because it has to happen, right? You guys see some things happening." But I hope we can get to a theory that I heard somebody toy with that I think is possible. But overall, I think where they're going, where they're taking this side of the Marvel U, the more espionage, not civil war, more Winter Soldier Captain America story. You know, that was they what's his face? The Russo brothers created a kind of subgenre in the Marvel universe, and I think they're carrying that forward well. So I'm liking it, loving it.
All right, Travis, what you think?
All right. Yo, on some real talk, I thought this was the discussion of I know you saw Justice League later than all of us.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to touch into that until I wanted to, but I couldn't get the other person that we had on, Corey. So I wanted to get everybody that was originally on before to come back on so that we can discuss it properly. So I probably should have mentioned that.
So then, all right, it's cool. But my ticket then is I'm like a new person coming in because I haven't seen it yet. Now I've been debating if I wanted to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier because I heard some good things in the beginning. Like I heard there's some scenes in the beginning that's like amazing, but then I heard it gets like really, in my mind, Thor 2-esque. You know what I mean? And so I'm thinking I might just hold off on that. Loki looked interesting, but I'm like, I might want to hold off on it. But now it's like, okay, maybe I should actually give this a shot, you know? So I guess you guys got to convince me now.
Interesting. Thor 2S.
I don't know anything about what's going on. I seen a video of what is it, Baron dancing and stuff like that. I'm thinking, okay, this actually looks fun. I'm seeing it for like they had this thing on YouTube where it's like loop for an hour straight.
You know, we're gonna talk about
that's my new favorite meme right there.
We're gonna talk about how Marvel trolled with that. But we're gonna touch on that. We're gonna touch on that first.
So y'all can spoil it because I'm like a person that like if you spoil something, I'm still good to watch it. So if y'all want to spoil it, it's fine. I want to be convinced to watch it.
All right, say no more. Let me tell you what I think about this thing. Now, I Am Legend, you said something very important. We was coming off that high of WandaVision. And one thing about Marvel that I always keep in the back of my mind, and I love the first episode because it said this. What did Falcon say? He said the wizards. There's three.
Wizards, sorcerers, and aliens.
Yes.
Nah, aliens, robots, and wizards.
There we go.
Yes. Yeah. So when he said that, I said that's exactly how I've categorized different pockets of the universe. There's stuff that's going to be heavy in the comics. There's stuff that's going to be heavy in cosmic, and there's stuff that's just going to be down to earth and just on our level, on the Earthlings level, right? So going in, I knew that's where we were going. We were going to pick up from that whole Winter Soldier vibe and Civil War vibe. So I wanted to see what they were going to tell, what kind of story they're going to tell. From the first episode till now, gripping. And it's one of those stories where, okay, you get the idea of what's going on. You still don't really know who's in charge. You don't know who certain powers are and everything like that. You're still dealing with a world that, even though after the blip, it's still after the Sokovian Accords as well. So there's a lot of pieces that they still got to put together because the world is still in a crazy space. And for me, being a black man and kind of watching the story that Sam Wilson is telling, I can relate to that wholeheartedly. If I was a superhero, I could relate to that. The world ain't ready for a black superhero. That's what it boils down to. They're ready for sidekicks. And this show, it tells that story, and it tells the narrative, and it tells the truth and the history of Marvel. In other comic books, well, I would say mostly Marvel, that the sidekick is usually a black guy. I mean, that's
nope.
Oh,
Because Luke Cage was one of the first heroes, though he was a part of a group, to stand on his own 2 feet.
You're right.
And I'm not gonna let you discount Netflix Marvel shows like that. That first season, I want to be very clear, that first season of Luke Cage was a good story.
Okay. Fair enough.
Well, I'm thinking he's talking about more of the comic history.
Yeah.
I was scrolling up.
Like, I mean, when Luke came on the scene, he stood on his own for a little bit before he was partnered. And this is where you could debate it. Was he the sidekick, or was the partnership?
No. Luke Cage is equal. He's equal amongst the defenders. I would never see him as a sidekick. When I'm thinking Iron Man, who's a sidekick? Rhodey, black guy. Thor, who is technically his sidekick? Heimdall. In the movies, he's a black guy.
Yeah.
You look at Captain America, who's his sidekick? Falcon, black dude.
And the second sidekick, so he wasn't even good enough to be the first one.
So that's
true, right?
That's my point. So it's like,
not for Captain America.
Like that's the thing. Like that's kind of the narrative, and that's just pulled from the comic book, and that's just how it kind of was. Not for all the superheroes, but when we think of the black superhero, they're usually attached to a bigger superhero. They're kind of like sidekick, but not officially their sidekick or whatever. So, but all in all, I love the series so far. It's filling in all those gaps and all those question marks that I had. Like, all right, well, what do the superheroes do when they're not saving the world? Those are little small stories that are really fun.
Yeah.
So.
And another trope that they discussed was like naming the black superheroes black first and then the superhero name. Like even Luke Cage, what was he like, Black Goliath when he first started off with? And so they mentioned that when the little kid was like, "Hey, that's Black
That
Falcon."
scene was hilarious.
Episode. Listen, all right, look. Let's do this. I wanted to go episode 1, 2, and 3. Let's just talk about 3. Because to be honest, 3 for me, I was sitting there, I was watching it, and then when Bucky was like, yeah, there was another guy that we can check out, I was like, I lifted up, I was like, let me see who they gonna go to. And then when they said his name, I got out of my seat, I was like, let's go, talk about it. Because I've been talking about this with one of my boys for years. I'm like, yo, Steve Rogers wasn't the first Captain America. Captain America.
See, technically, that's still not true. He is. Even in comic book origins, they always mess that up. Like, they speak of Steve Rogers as being the only Captain America. Successful. But the issue is he wasn't the only one, and so they darken out that. So I gotta for our fans to make sure they understand. Like, Steve is technically the first. He's the first one who was successful, but he's not the only successful one.
Okay.
So wait, there's a black Captain America,
and there's a couple. I want to say a couple, but
for now we know of one, because I think in the comics, Isaiah Bradley, he was the only one that survived his experiment.
But there are other experiments and other super soldiers on black men.
Yeah. There was like a team at one point.
Yes,
super soldier, and again, this all goes back to our history. In World War II, they put the African American people, slaves, on the front line, and they were the ones, and they've experimented on them.
The Tuskegee experiments, yeah.
Yes. So all this is history that you can look up. So all Marvel did, and this is what Marvel used to do back in the days, is pretty much pulled from history and just put it in their comic books and kind of just spun it to tell a story. So
I'm gonna be that black guy to talk about the white guy, but if we're talking about the show overall, here's the thing. I actually thought the story that they're weaving together, and people are like, oh, they're inconsistent with whatever's happening. I think the story that they're weaving together with Bucky is actually interesting as well. Right, like I just that whole scene with the Japanese dude, because at first I was like, what's all this? You know what I mean? Like,
so I thought it was somebody from World War II.
Okay, so really, this show also covers kind of the aftermath, the grief. What it's like to lose. So if WandaVision covered grief in a more personal, like death, this is grief in the sense of loss. Right, just what happens if you lose things. Because Steve ain't, to our knowledge, he's not dead yet. Right, he's just he's not doing what he's doing. Oh shoot! Could that be the major cameo?
I'm gonna say yes because there is an old man Cap that is in the comic books. So
yeah, okay. I don't want to get lost on that. But to answer your question, the reason I like the Bucky's thread about this is because like, how do you be this person who's pardoned, who is no longer this killing machine, but the I think that the damage of living with all that you have, like all that you have done, like they don't have a Professor X yet, right? To do a Wolverine type mind wipe. Like, I'm just gonna let you forget the bad stuff. Like, he's living with centuries of life, and then on top of that, right, he doesn't have the one person that he connects with. So I actually like that story thread in that piece, because I think the juxtaposition. Now, this is where for me, I was like, I see what y'all doing. When there's that one scene between him and Sam, and it's almost like Sam is like, so you trying to tell me what it's like to be black? Like sit down, white. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't move about the spaces like you used to. And I thought that is what creates a real dynamic story. Because for me, as a people level, like, we do that, right? We always want to make sure to compare our stories to make me feel better.
No, you can't. He can't compare his story to Sam's story. Because I love the part. I don't know. I think it was episode 2 where they were talking on the ship, or episode 3. But he was saying, "I want you and Cap to understand why I gave the shield."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He said that. It was kind of to say, like, it's not like I don't feel like I'm worthy of it. It's just that understand the position that I'm in. And
it was on the plane with Zemo. He was on the plane with Zemo, I think.
Yes. So I'm like, they're touching on a lot of topics that, for some of the fans, they're not going to understand because they're not black. They're not African American. And then there's another pocket of fans like us who's going to understand. Oh, wow, I understand that dynamic. I understand that struggle, and it's comforting to see that Marvel is starting to take those type of stories serious. Because once they go this route, they can't go back.
Yeah. What I'm thinking, man, is we have to honestly give it up to Marvel, yo, because the way you guys are talking about this show is the way I felt about WandaVision. And it's like, they're so different. WandaVision from it's just completely out there. But then this show is so grounded, but yet it's the same energy. It's the same kind of feel for both show. And I'm like, Marvel has mastered, before they had hiccups, and I always get on Thor 2. They always have those hiccups, but it's like they've learned how to master, I don't know if it's like expectation, but they know how to keep us like, because you're talking about, the cameo might be Old Man Cap. But I'm thinking, knowing Marvel, they're not going to make it that easy for us to know it like that, They always got something in there. And you never know if they're going to go that route or they just give us Old Man Cap, And it's like, it's fun to really play those games. And I'm like, man, just listen to y'all. I'm like, yo, this show is really good. Like, it's not like what I've been hearing. It's not like a, No,
there's a lot of great things that are sprinkled throughout the entire show. Like certain things that we can relate to, and then there's other things that, like, if you're a comic book fan, you get that nod. Like, yeah, we see you. And
exactly.
We're not gonna blow it up to where, wait, that's not how the comics went. No, they're gonna put enough of it for you to be like, I see what you did there. So
Well,
there's
let's think about, because Trav, you talk about the Marvel success in Thor 2, and it's interesting. Thor was early enough where Marvel was wondering if they should take the same template and just apply it throughout.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think, in all honesty, I actually think it was the Russo brothers that basically said to Marvel, yo, no, like, if this is the universe, like, give it its own identity. And then Ty Waititi was like, oh, okay, bet, right? This is how I envision Thor might be. And so now Thor is basically continuing to grow, right? The baby infant stage was like, well, let's treat every kid the same. Every kid isn't the same. So let's treat every kid like they have their own personality. And so what we're seeing now is them learning that, like, your WandaVision stories are going to have their way of being told, and don't lose that identity. And your Falcon, your Winter, your Americas, Captain America stories have their own thing, and your Thor has their own stories, and your Guardians of the Galaxy. And so I think they're seeing that, and what we're experiencing now is them, like, in their teenage years, like, nah, I'm good. I can go to the mall by myself, right?
You know, it's funny. It's funny that you bring that up, because even in Infinity War, before you saw the Guardians of the Galaxy, you heard a song in the background, like boom, 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 and then you knew Guardians of the Galaxy, and then boom, it was them in space. It's like they knew how to anticipate that for us. So I'm like, you got to give it up to them, man. Like, they really know. Now they know what they're doing. Like, they're like, all right. I mean, I'm the 18-year-old that kid. I'm learning how to drive now. You know what I mean? First practicing now, I got my license now. And
now learning how to do it. They like. I feel like
not now, but I'm saying I'm noticing how well.
I think
because the series are making us see. The series are making us see how well. Like, even I watched the Loki trailer. It's completely different. Like, from WandaVision, where they're the same kind of thing, but I'm like, Loki's is totally different. You know what I mean? And
like, Loki's playing off of that Thor Ragnarok, and that it still look like it's finding its own. It's like, hey, I see you, homeboy. We can go. We rock the same maybe shirts, but our shoes and our kicks a little different. Like,
yeah.
And I was looking at some stuff that Loki's might tie into Love and Thunder and stuff like that.
You almost assume, in a way.
Yeah.
Marvel
I think that's a game. I actually think Loki's is going to tie into Ant-Man and the multiverse. Okay. I don't think Loki's is really. I think, of course, because he's the god of thunder. Like, there may be some nods. I actually think what he's dealing with is definitely going to be Ant-Man.
No, hold on. I think why it's going to be Loki, because this is not the Loki that died in Infinity War. This is a multiverse Loki.
This is the Loki.
You know what I'm saying?
2012.
I don't think this is Loki. I don't think this is Loki from the one that died. I think this is the Loki that got the Tesseract.
I agree. Yeah. 2012.
So he's automatically a different universe. Because remember, once they removed the one stone, everything just started.
That's why I don't think he's going to tie into Love and Thunder. I think he's going to tie into Ant-Man, because like Kang the Conqueror. I think our next big villain is not going to be like a big villain. He's going to be the and I think Kang the Conqueror is going to be that dude. And Doom. I think those two will carry the weight of a Thanos.
Well, they say. Well, the theory is with Doom, when excuse me, Zemo is talking about how when Sokovia fell, there were surrounding countries that came and took all the resources, and they're saying that one of those countries was Liberia, which is where Doom is from. So that's an interesting kind of story that they're silently telling. And we gotta be able to pick it up when that comes in play.
You guys are finding connections with Loki to the next big movie, but I think Loki's something all in its own. I think once that show ends, that's gonna be like the end of Loki that we know. I don't think his story is connected with anything.
I actually agree with you, but I don't think that doesn't mean it's not connected, because now we should all, and I read their arc, because I picked up, so one of my first real deep dive into like my heavy collecting was New Avengers. It was a good jumping on point. With New Avengers, you have Young Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
And there are enough Young Avengers out there in the world right now that I think there's one Young Avenger that we'll get left with after Loki that'll finish up their team as we understand it.
Okay.
So that's why I agree with you. I think it will tell its own story. We will have a different Loki, but that doesn't mean it's not going to tie into like the rest of the universe.
There's still going to be threads here and there. And that's a great point, because
Okay.
And that's where they're eventually. That's where they're going for the young Avengers. So hopefully, we're going to be getting that a couple years down the road.
And someone once said there might be multiple Avengers teams. Like Marvel might actually try to do. So you might have your Thunderbolts, you might have your Young Avengers, and then you might have like, oh, I don't say West Coast, but maybe they'll call them the New Avengers and kind of run with that arc.
Okay.
Because you have now so many characters that you can tell different stories. Because Young Avengers, they can be street level, right? They can be your what Netflix was trying to do with the Defenders, like because they're all not outside of Hulkling and America. Oh gosh, is her name America Chavez? Nah, that's not. There's a young girl. She's Hispanic. She's gonna be in WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness. Her name is America Chavez, I think. And
wait,
Hispanic girl that can punch through universes. That's her power thing.
I think I know,
like,
but
all I'm really saying is that they don't have heavy power hitters, right? So they'll be able to take on some villains that aren't, magnanimous, but still Avengers, like still team up worthy, but on a lower level. So they'll give us what Netflix was trying to do with the Defenders, and we can love that. We can have it. We'll have it in a Disney Plus. But then movie wise, we may get a Thunderbolt, or movie wise, we may get like, the New Avengers with Falcon and Miss Marvel, whoever. So I think Marvel, again, Kevin Feige, he's got a room full of red thread and multiple pictures on the wall, and he's just trying to tie it all together.
Tying it all up. Question for you guys.
They can go anywhere at this point.
Power broker.
Oh, that's Sharon Carter.
Sharon Carter.
Not at all.
Sharon Carter?
Either that or who you got? That's mine.
I think she's working for the power broker, but I don't think that is the power broker.
Who do you think then?
I don't want to give no theories because I know I'm going to be wrong no matter what.
I mean, that's why I threw out mine. I threw out mine. I was like, it's not her, but you know what? I'm going with it.
If anything, I hope it's somebody that's connected or is the Mandarin. That's what I'm going with.
Okay.
Okay.
Somebody at Ten Rings organization.
Okay. To be quite honest with you, I'm stumped. I really don't know who could be the power broker. I mean, people saying that it could be oh man, what's his name?
Zemo?
Not Zemo. But Zemo might become a villain at the end of it. But his motivations might be different from his initial motivations, which is to kill off all the
what if it isn't? Well, what if it isn't? Because I read a theory that. So let's just play with this because we have nothing better to do as Marvel fans than to play with theories. Somebody said Zemo could be the power broker, but remember his ultimate end goal is to down the idea of heroes and super soldiers. So what if you put this plan in motion that requires the government or these superheroes to come out, whoever's left, that you can ultimately essentially deface them across the board? Because now he's out of jail. Now he looks like a good guy. Good guy. And he's close enough to Bucky that he can dead him at the end of it. Right? In theory, like I can set things up to dead it. And I still get to play around. And I read it and I was like, okay. It was kind of interesting. Like Wilson Fisk. Like Wilson Fisk was running empires behind jail, like behind bars, and no one knew about it. So who's to say Zemo can do the same thing? And we already know he's intelligent. Like he's, genius level. So
there was another theory that Olaf might be the power broker.
Olaf.
Like a computer
guy.
Yeah, the one he was in Captain America, the first Avenger, one that gave his arm and everything.
Oh, you mean his comic book version? He's got a big body with a screen in the middle.
Yes. Yeah. They're saying that could be the power broker.
Oh,
and he's existed the entire time, rebuilding Hydra. Zola, yeah.
I think Armin Zoloff, yes.
Zola.
Oh wow! Oh yeah, I like that.
That was a theory.
I mean, it wasn't stated in the first Avenger that he was destroyed or anything like that. So,
well, he's AI too. So like,
yeah, he's an AI now.
Yeah, so
because in Winter Soldier, they were talking to him in that bunker. So there's nothing that said that he
Yeah,
couldn't.
yeah. But
But technically, unless Marvel wants to go back and address some canon, if I remember that scene correctly, his entire mainframe was in that bunker, and that bunker was destroyed. Now it's computer, right? If somebody's good enough with data, you can pull it back. But I'm not opposed to that. I think, yeah, But someone is saying, y'all, do you think they would keep this major character off screen for so long without having us in some way come in contact with that character? You know what I'm saying? Like, give us a brand new face.
But look,
they want us to talk about it. They just want us to talk about it, get it overly hype. It's probably gonna be somebody that we never heard of, never seen before.
But then give us
that's
that
why I feel like it's going.
But look how they did Agatha.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
They
Yeah.
reveal her as a witch until like, what was it, like episode 6?
But we saw her though, but she was there the entire time. That's my thing.
Okay, yeah.
Because we got 2 episodes left, right?
Maybe
we have 2 episodes left. That's crazy. That's robbery.
Yeah. Yeah, but with Agatha, I think that in her name, because Agatha is in the comic books, like I think her name is, Agatha Harkness in the comic books. So people kind of already knew that. But for somebody like me, she's a little obscure to me. Like I don't know much of that lore, WandaVision and stuff like that. I don't know about the lore too much, So that kind of got me that she was there. I'm thinking we've seen everybody for the most part, just that she had a prominent role. So I knew she was somebody. But we saw everybody multiply. We saw the mailman sometimes. We saw the guy's boss for a second. Like he seemed like he was gonna have a bigger role. You know what I mean? Which he kind of, I guess, in a way did. You know what I mean? To kind of.
Which is why I feel like we've seen the Power Broker. I feel like we have already been introduced to the Power Broker. We just don't know. Like that
makes the most
person
sense.
Was the Power
That
Broker.
makes the most sense.
And so I'll give you I want Sharon Carter to be that, because my deep theory is that Sharon Carter is doing what Natasha would do in a comic book. She's like a 3-way agent.
Yeah.
And I think Nick, she's still only answering to Nick. And so if you imagine the blip, let's say Nick, he was blipped out, right?
Yeah.
But far from home, but in the blip, far from home, he's back and in space.
Yeah.
So what if he's trying to get things back together, right? Like he's setting up for the secret war. So
he's
no. I'm just saying he has Sharon Carter working for the Power Broker because that's another tap in, right? He's willing to use any resource necessary to get what he has to get done.
That's Nick right there.
The only person that would know that she, I think America's going like, oh, we'll take you back, but you were doing this, and in Madripoor, she's the queen or whatever. But really, her allegiance still lies to Nick Fury, like it did in Winter Soldier.
Okay. Let me throw another one out there for you guys. Not with the Power Broker. Wakanda. The last episode, not the 4th episode, but the end of the 3rd episode, when we see Wakanda is entering this story.
Wait, what'd you say?
Like, where is this going with Wakanda? Like, how is Wakanda? I understand why Wakanda is interested because Zemo is out. But how does this whole story play? And will it play in the next Black Panther movie?
I don't know. Actually, I felt kind of hurt when I seen her. When I heard the little drums and the beats, I was like, oh, we here. And I'm thinking about like Chadwick Boseman right away. And it was like, oh my gosh, there's no more King T'Challa right now. But I think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna do too much in the last 2 episodes. I think they gotta tighten up the story for ending if they're or whatever. I think they're still gonna be on the hunt for Zemo, but other than that, I'm not too sure.
Yeah,
what else they can add?
Yeah, I think it is just to make sure that we know as fans that like these things are always interconnected. Like you can't have a Zemo out there and not have this done. But I don't think it's going to be too major of a threat even for the movies, because I actually thought about it. In an ideal world, they probably would have had T'Challa come and do that cameo scene.
That's true.
And because they're probably still writing the story out, you don't know if you're going to have a Shuri. Because again, I keep saying, because I heard rumors that Michael B may come back, and I don't think it's going to come back as a whatever. I think they want to keep the core of a Black Panther being a man. Even if they give Shuri the title for a little bit, I think Michael B's character will be an alternate universe, a multiverse. Like in that verse, he's actually the Panther. And so fans will be able to feel somewhat connected because it's like, well, we can't have Chad. I guess we can have the person who was kind of like good friends with him off screen and fought with him. That's really. I'm holding on to that. I'm like,
that's gonna be hard.
I'm not mad at what's her name,
Yeah.
Ao, being the person in this story because we've seen her in Civil War. Everybody's like, oh, yo, who's this chick? We've seen her in Black Panther a little bit in the background, but just to see her there, it made sense.
Yeah.
Now, I want to lead into that because U.S. agent, he got his butt handed to him. He got his butt handed to him. That whole scene, I thought that whole scene with them fighting and him feeling so insignificant.
It was the setup, yeah.
Oh my gosh! In the way that Sam looked at him as he was leaving, like, yeah, this is exactly why you don't need to. You ain't ready for this. You are not ready for this type of heat. I was like, yo, that was perfect because it showed exactly the deterioration of his mental psyche to where he ended up ultimately finishing that episode. I thought that fourth episode was
and that thread. If you're a comic fan, you knew it had to get there, but the how, and I love the breadcrumbs that they had continually dropped. Oh, he's really intelligent. He's incredibly lethal. He's very efficient, and you just seeing these little things like, yeah, I get it, right? Those little each little chord was just snapping slowly.
Now, what do you guys think? Do you guys like the way that they saying like, hey, he was just mentally broke down before taking the serum? Because I know in the comics, wasn't it people break it down due to the super soldier serum?
Nah, see, I think
it was kind of
that's the crux of the story, Legend. Like the crux of the story is going back to what Erskine had said to Kaplan when they were drinking in the things. Like everyone thinks this thing is great. All it does is makes good better and bad worse. And I think this whole entire story, right? Again, WandaVision was about grief and loss with power. This is the same thing. What do people do with power? Right. Yeah. Which is why I'm gonna answer your question and throw out something back to y'all. I think what happened was he showed us true colors. And a man who's experienced war and has been in trauma and tragedy like that, right? When you see what he saw, I'm not gonna spoil that track. I think that's pretty powerful. When you see what he saw, oh no, I'm gonna let y'all know you don't do that, because that was kind of like my last hold on humanity. But get this. What if Marvel's preparing for a major revamp of what we thought the Falcon is? Because somebody else may get another mysterious vial of super soldier serum. The one person that says they don't want it, they don't want to take it. But what if to save their life? Because my theory is there may come a moment where his life is going to need to be saved.
And he's going to have...
And so, not against his will. I don't think he's going to take it. I think someone's going to give it to him. Because think about it, right? In the some of the places where they're playing, the only reason Cap was able to handle their levels because he had the serum. Like the Cap Thanos fight is only possible because of the serum and the hammer. Without it, bye. Right? Yeah. So if you're going to have who I'm suggesting is going to be in these circles and be playing with these big boys, you might need to get juiced a little bit. And I think if the story is talking about what happens when these people get power, I think they might do that. And then, in the comic books, they always make the comic books match where the MCU is going. I think you could easily revamp that back on the other end.
I like your theory. I love your theory. Because I feel as though that would be a great story. But the way that they've been telling the story of Sam from the very beginning, he's always chasing after Steve, in a sense. When Steve was running by him on your left, and he's constantly trying to keep up. And he even said in that same movie, listen, I do what he does, just slower. So it's just little things that you got to pull from these movies to kind of get an idea of what kind of character we're dealing with.
But doesn't that reinforce the idea?
That might be, that reinforces theory, because now it's like, this is my thing now to get to where he is,
But he doesn't want to, because remember, he's okay with being where he is. Because remember, Steve was who he was. Like, Steve was willing to do what he was going to do. He was going to join this army regardless, and that made him good. So my theory is, I'm not saying he's going to be willing to take this. I'm actually think it's going to happen against his will. Like, that's my thought. It's he won't even know. He'll be knocked out on a verge of death, and they're like, "Yo, all right, let's do this." Boom,
do it. Yeah.
And now,
and it's probably like
Go ahead.
That'll probably have to be my last episode too, because it'll trickle over into the movies.
No, I actually think The Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be the first show that we get a season 2, because you're not going to be able to tell his story as being Captain America.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to be able to do that. So I think they'll leave us at the very end, either the end of the next episode or in the middle of the final, where this will happen. My thought, he'll dawn, he'll take on whatever, because we got those trailers of him learning how to throw the shield, right? Like, and it's happening.
Still haven't seen it yet.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So that's why I think we're going to get a season 2 of this show, and then we'll get to see what it's like for America to see a black man with power, real power, and title.
Well, since we're going on this, would there be another Captain America after what happened after this episode?
Yes.
I think so. I think the world is going to see what this Captain America did, and not to get too political, but I posted this on my Facebook. Steve Rogers is the Captain America. It represents the America of old.
Absolutely.
Where it was, we're here to save the world. We're here to help all of our allies, blah, 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 blah. This Captain America now, it represents the current America. America is not what Captain America stood for. It is a different world today. We have people trying to get into the Capitol, trying to do all this insurrection, all that mess. Like this is America now. It's corrupted. That's the truth of the matter. And this Captain America is corrupted. So I think by the end of this series, they're going to try to say, hey, this is who we are. We're not perfect, but this is the best thing that we can have to bring us back to that good old American that we used to.
Think about that story that tells, right? To have a person like us representing America, because I think there's going to be backlash. If you read his arc in the comics, he did some things that were not received well, and there was a lot of pushback. But I think Marvel is always forward thinking, because now they talk about having the first openly LGBTQ character out there, right? You got Kamala representing the Pakistani population or persons from the Middle East. So I think going forward, to have someone like Sam stand tall, right? Stand with the shield. And the key thing is, that's why I think that power piece is going to be at play, because that's the one thing that blacks as a whole feel like we're missing, right? So why not try to tell that story? If I'm a black writer, you know what? We're always just a little behind, right? As to what you said, like, we're always a little behind. Well, so now we got power, right? You can't push me. Okay. I got the shield. I represent you, but I don't represent you. Because that's the thing, something too. He's gonna go back to Steve's way of going about things. No, I'll take the title, but I'll do what I want. Understand that. And so I mean, I want it, to be honest with you. I want it because I'm always thinking my man is so fragile, because all you got is some vibranium wings. So I kind of want you to at least get a little, you can take a shot or two. That's my hope.
But what I had. Go ahead. Let me gather my thoughts. I had a suggestion.
Okay. I was going to ask a whole nother question.
I'm taking this all in.
Go ahead.
A whole nother question. The Flag Smashers, their plan, their goal. When this last episode, when she was like, this is what I was missing in episode 1 and 2. It's like, we got a group, an organization called Flag Smashers. What do they want? Why are they blowing up buildings? What's going on here? And when you got her, I forgot the lady girl's name, the main villain, I guess you want to call her. When she gave her explanation, I was like, oh wow, like, yeah, yo, let's help her out. Like, I was immediately on her side. The way they so real quick, Trav. So pretty much what happened was, when everybody got blipped out, countries start asking immigrants and other people to come in and like, hey, come here. We have work for you. This house is set up. Mansions here. No, half the people is gone. You could live here. You could work here. You don't need no visas, whatever. Everybody all of a sudden become one, because we all dependent on each other. We all need each other. And once everybody came back, there's like, I know you're in a war-torn country, but you got to go back there. I know you helped us these 5 years build up the infrastructure, but you got to go back to where you came from. So when she was explaining that story, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, like,
history repeating itself. Like, But for them to pull that and to make a story out of that, that's crazy.
But it's true though. I mean,
But it's
I can give you a
true, it's
personal
true.
thing, man. When Hurricane Sandy hit, I was in Jersey, and I remember my entire block was like pooling resources. Like, if somebody had a gas stove, you were boiling water for somebody else who had electric, right? Somebody had a generator, you would put some stuff in their fridge. You know, there's something about crises that brings people together. But power, when you have power, right? When you have the opportunity to determine who gets what, you see that play out. And so I agree with you, man. At first I was like, okay, you know, you guys run around just one world, one. But for them to describe what it was like, and then for Sam, oh man, that scene is what made me hate the Captain America now, and made me love Sam even more because he was anchored, right? That scene inside there, I was like,
That's not my cat.
that's been trending.
No, but that's true though. Like just that breakdown. And Marvel is getting really good at creating a narrative for your villain with their reasoning to where it's like, dang, I kind of want to root for you.
That's why I say I think they're working from an antagonistic. I think there are very few villains. There are definitely a couple of antagonists, very few villains. Like Deadpool had a villain, right? Like that was pure evil. But go back to Thanos and you're like, shoot, even Loki. Matter of fact, even Loki, I'm like, I get you, dog. You just lonely.
They had that sprinkle everywhere, but I think it was when Killmonger came on the scene, and then after that, they've been pretty consistent. You know, like maybe hit and miss with Captain Marvel, but after that, they've been pretty consistent with their villains, giving them more of a story within the overarching story. So
Captain
I'm
Marvel,
telling you, yeah, you got to give it to Marvel. It's Kevin Feige is absolutely insane. He's so brilliant.
So my question for you guys, when it comes to, we have 2 more episodes left. Where do you, and I think we kind of answered this. Where do you think we're gonna leave off? Where do you think we're gonna lead into? Because at the end of WandaVision, we see Wanda in her I can't even think.
Her
cabin.
Yeah.
In the cabin, she's hydroplaning.
Astroplaning. You said hydroplaning. All done with you, sir.
I'm all over the place today. But she pretty much she's embracing the power, and she's becoming more and more like the Scarlet Witch. She's learning. So I'm assuming the last scene might just be that scene where, you know, Falcon is working with that shield and he's doing all that work. That's probably going to be the last scene. But you think it will be the last scene?
You're talking about after credit? No, I actually raise your last scene and say the last scene will be him holding a press conference as being the last before credit scene as the new title.
To say I'm Captain America?
Yep. You're straight up Tony Stark, yeah.
Tony Stark?
That's the last before credit scene I think that they'll give us.
Okay.
Well, the scene I would like is Old Man Cap visiting Isaiah Bradley, and they're just having a talk, and it just cuts out there and just like Cap saying like, "Let me hear your story," or something like that.
Oh,
and
dude,
it ended that way. That's the scene I want.
Oh, I want that. I want that. That would be powerful.
Yeah.
You know how,
that would be powerful.
That would be powerful. That will be.
Yeah, that would be powerful.
That'd be like some reconciliation thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Like,
so that would be dope.
That whole, like, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna keep it straight up. When they said Elijah Bradley, I was so mad because I was like, yeah, it's true. And the way he said his whole story, like, yo, they buried me, they put me away, and all that stuff. They took my blood. I was like, that's what Marvel did to you. Like, that's what Marvel did to your story. Like the actual Marvel, but they actually did that. so yo, that scene, if they do something like that, yo, that would be a powerful scene, yo. For real. Wow.
Definitely.
That'd be real emotional, yo.
You know what would be more interesting if all 4 of them were sitting at the table.
Oh, wow.
So you have the present Cap, okay? You have the lost Cap.
Yeah.
You have the old Cap, and you have the hopeful Cap. Because I think Bucky represents a hopeful Cap. Like,
yeah.
I'm tainted, but I'm there in spirit. But imagine them just sitting down and just chopping it up.
You know what's crazy? We're missing and to shift out of TV into movie. Black Widow, that's coming out.
That looks good.
And Black Widow is grounded the same as this one. Now, granted, this one takes place. Falcon Winter Soldier takes place after the blip. We're assuming that. Well, not assuming, but obviously this takes place before the blip.
Well before too.
Well before.
This is supposed to take place before Civil or after Civil War or before Civil War?
It's during the blip, I heard. This is like during
those 5 years?
During those 5 years.
Nah, because this is supposed to be that bank.
No.
I don't know. I'll check. I think it's civil. I think it's earlier than that.
Because
Yeah,
there's a 2-year gap between Civil War and Infinity War. There's like a 2-year gap that they were
like at the end of Civil War. I think that's what it is. I think it takes place between Civil War and Infinity War.
Okay. I was going to ask, do you think that some of the stuff that's going on right now at Falcon, like the Power Broker, all these other people, entities, do you think they're going to get their start from that movie? Because I just feel like that movie has to create or connect to some threat.
I can't believe I forgot this.
Well, I'll say this. When they first introduced this movie, what was it, like 2 years ago? I was so upset about it.
Yes.
Like I hate when they kill a character off and then they go say, okay, this is the movie during whatever such time, and it's like is. But I don't see, the only other person I see is Sharon Carter coming into play.
Her sister's going to be the new Black Widow.
Okay. Huh.
Whose sister?
Black Widow's.
I mean, not her biological sister, but like.
Yeah, the soldier sister.
I think Yelena is going to be the Black Widow, so we'll get a fast forward. I wouldn't even be surprised if she showed up in this episode, in one of these 2 last episodes, in some capacity, either working with Sharon Carter or being aware, and that'll tie us in.
I feel like this whole series is so grounded and so deep. Like with WandaVision, we were thinking, yo, X-Men's coming through. Fantastic Four about to come through. Yo, we was thinking like, yo, comic book. This is so grounded. Like they're gonna hit us with something like out of nowhere. Or they're gonna hit us with something out of nowhere, something that we wasn't even thinking about. Messing around, Reed Richards going to just come up on screen. Yeah, I'm Dr. Reed. Oh,
still waiting to see where and when they will tie that in, because I'm looking at the movies coming out. And I'm just like, where would you get a chance to give us just the nugget?
And are they going to do Fantastic Four? Are they going to do a prequel too? That's my thing. Are they going to do it like?
No.
It's
The
like,
cool thing about Marvel. Nah, Travis, they're not doing that. Marvel doesn't.
Yeah,
Marvel has learned from DC. We don't need to we know the origin story of the Fantastic Four. We know the origin story of Spider-Man. Just give us the characters.
Yeah, they're not going to wait. They're not going to wait.
But with the Fantastic Four, you really got to explain them on a Guardian of the Galaxy kind of vibe. That's what I'm thinking is going to be their approach. And I'm like, okay, I don't think it's going to be that they existed before Infinity War, because it's like, where were you guys then? And
but you can because Reed Richards is an interdimensional kind of Reed Richards is depending on how you organize them in the Marvel universe. He's easily one of the top 3 smartest people in the entire world. Like they were tasked, or what things that they did was discover new places. And if you look at the ultimate version of Reed Richards, he actually just developed a machine that was a multi-dimensional machine. So you could easily, right, in a quick cameo in the multiverse, run by somebody like, huh? Right? And we're like, oh, but that's all we get, and come back. And it easily explains where they've been, right? The Baxter building could have been at the heart of New York, and Reed Richards and whoever with the Future Foundation simply just had a machine that it was phasing in and out of realities, right? And you're just like, oh, that makes sense, right? We can believe it because he's Reed freaking Richards.
Phase 4 is all about multiverse. All about multiverse. They're literally going to take the MCU and they're going to blow it up. And at the end of that explosion, we're having stuff from Marvel Sony, we're having Marvel Fox, all that stuff is coming back in. Well, not coming back in, but it's going to be in, and that's where we're going to go from there.
Yo,
So-
Remy Baker on YouTube says we're not getting mutants anytime soon, and I actually disagree. I can easily see mutants by next year, and to me that is soon.
Yeah.
This year we're halfway through this year. I can easily see the threads of mutants already being wove next year, because essentially, because it hasn't happened, I think multiverse again. Doctor Strange's movie, like you said, Corey's gonna blow it up, and all of a sudden we're gonna claws and laser beams. What happened,
Guys? Let me just calm you down, guys, a little bit. You asking for too much. Slow down. We did this with WandaVision. He's like, "Yo, mutants is coming now." Like she gonna say all mutants alive, and it's gonna happen. We was let down. So let's just like, hey, let's wait for it.
I wasn't let down. I thought it was a perfect.
I wasn't let down.
Corey was let down. Corey's let down.
I said, no.
He called you out.
Who say she didn't do that? All right, who just say she didn't do that?
I was let down.
like, yo,
I wanted to see it
because oh my gosh, here's my theory. I need somebody to give me money, right? So she's gonna look for her kids. She's gonna look for her kids, right?
Yeah.
Her kids are gonna be in another dimension.
Yeah.
But what if the dimension that her kids are in is a dimension where people are born gifted? And pulling them back is gonna shatter it. Like it's gonna cause some type of ripple effect. Right?
It's gonna merge them two together.
Because those two probably belong to some. Because even in the comics, those two belong to separate parents.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but they're born gifted. They have the talent.
And maybe they were abducted by Xavier's school. So now the X-Men is like, okay, what's happening now? And that's our introduction for the X-Men. Because they go to the school.
The thing about your theory, colors, everything, I think Monica Rambeau already said that there's gifted people in here already. They have the gene that hasn't been activated.
Who said that?
She's been changed on the molecular.
Nah. She's not. Yeah, like what Sam's is saying. I think that was because she done walked back and forth through chaos magic like 6-7 times, chick. And she just black strong, so she was like, "I got this magic, my black magic mixed with your magic, and here I am."
They got the whole Inhuman stuff. I mean, granted, that's still in a pocket in the universe that they say does not coexist, but it has to coexist.
No, Sam's. No, we just don't talk. We don't talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think as long as fans agree not to mention it, then it doesn't count no more.
No thanks.
All right. So real quick, because I know we're running low on time. I wanted to talk about Invincible. I haven't seen it, but I have a question for those who have seen it. Okay. And now this is if I'm not mistaken, this is the second type of superhero movie that Amazon has put out. First was The Boys, right?
I don't talk about The Boys.
I love The Boys, man. Yeah,
seriously. Y'all are dark people. You're really dark people.
It's crazy. The Boys, no, hold up. Before you continue, Corey, The Boys are just what DC wants to do. The Boys are just that. That's literally what they are.
Okay, that's real dark. That's all I want to say.
It's dark, but that's what DC wants to do. And honestly, if DC was like this, trust me, it's like go all or nothing. You know what I mean? But I love The Boys. That was a good show.
So my question is, with The Boys and now Invincible, is Amazon Movies trying to be the come up third genre between the two titans of DC? Well, I can't even say two titans of DC and Marvel because it's really just Marvel. But anyway, are they coming up? Amazon movie
simple
series.
Go ahead, Legend.
I was gonna say, with the series, I wasn't too informed about it. I know there is 20 years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago. I didn't know what to expect. I went into it blind. I didn't want to try to look up anything. Once you watch the first episode, you're gonna be hooked. I'll tell you that much. After the first episode, you're gonna be hooked. You're gonna want to know what's gonna happen next. Of course, because at first it just looked like it's okay. They're taking these DC characters. It looks like, and just changing the names up, changing looks. I'm like, yo, what am I watching? But by the end of the episode, because it's kind of like The Boys, like how The Boys had like the Wonder Woman and Superman. It's pretty much the same thing, just in cartoon format. But when you're first watching it, you think it's like, okay, it's PG-13, but they're saying a lot of curses, so maybe it's rated R. And then by the end of it, you're like, okay, this is rated R. This is The Boys in the cartoon form. I'm in it. Like, you're gonna be hooked on it.
once again taking yesterday's expectations and putting it today. We just can't help but categorize things. Invincible is its own thing. Now, in terms of writing comic books, there is a trope that they follow, but I think it tells its own story. And so I had picked up a book way back and had come across with it. I'm very golden age. Give me my heroes super good. Give me my heroes, never killing anyone. So I'm a little traumatized and triggered, which is why The Boys was too much for me. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I will say though, Sam's, like Legend said, man, again, wife loves Invincible. Like actually looks forward to watching the episode because I think it's telling a good story. Yeah, I don't think he's trying to hide anything either. I think it is. I mean, because of what we do, you'll see the threads. You'll be like, oh, I get it. But it's still a good story. I think it's still a good story.
Okay. All right. So I was just
to
throwing
answer your question. I think Amazon is going to take and going to fulfill the hole. Where somebody put in the chat, I think Jesse's Brick put Indie Comics. I think Amazon is going to look to fill like the Dark Horse, the Image Comics, and elevate those stories.
Yeah.
Because Marvel, they're not going to compete with a Marvel on that level, and I don't think. I mean, whatever. I mean, they're just not going to compete with Marvel on that level.
I'm gonna use a wrestling terminology. I'm a big wrestling fan. So in the 90s, it was WWF, WCW, ECW. And WWF was like it was WCW,
Marvel.
WWF. They were going back and forth, and then finally WWF kind of just took off and left WCW behind. But ECW filled that pocket of those fans that wanted that blood and guts, crazy stories, all that stuff. So that's why I was asking that question: is Amazon becoming that? And in Colors and Everything, you kind of answered that perfectly. They're gonna. It looks like that they're looking to fill that.
And they're smart. Yeah, I think they're real smart about Jeff Bezos. Like, I think they're smart. You got money, and there's material out there. But people who knock like comic books aren't going to be popular. People are still going to comic book stores and picking up books, right? Putting them in their sleeves. Okay. So just like rom-coms haven't died, just like horror movies haven't died, they simply find new ways to reinvent themselves. I think what Marvel has shown is that there are people in this world who wanted to see what they read, just like other people want to see the stories they read in, in their novels brought to life. We want to see these characters brought to life too. And now there's it's the technology to match it. I mean, Star Wars, I can't watch the original 3. 5, 6, 7, because I can see the strings, man. I can't if I can see the strings on your back, I can't do it, right? Like I can't see your it's hard.
The little CGI at the time.
All right, fellas, y'all probably gonna kick me for this, but we're gonna end this night on a high note. We're gonna talk about some DC stuff real quick.
All right, I'll see you later, yeah.
Hi guys.
We're gonna talk Batman. Was it longest Halloween or something like that? All right, so that trailer dropped. You already know how I feel about Batman. I think he's overused. I mean, I get it. DC animation, they have Batman. It's a known draw. They make their money off of it. If it ain't broke, that's it. So I get it. So when I started watching it, I was like, I don't understand if this is different from any other Batman alone or standalone animated movie that came out, but apparently it is. So I was asking you guys, what did you guys think? And also Cancellations and The Rock dropping that that big thing that they starting that Black Adam.
I'm sorry, I want to go first just because I want to just get out the way for me.
No problem.
Don't plan on watching a long Halloween until I probably have a day off, nothing to do, and just want to have something on in the background. First thing. DC Cancellations, not surprised. And The Rock dropping it. I hope he is able to use his influence to tell the story that I think he wants to tell. So I would just say that about him.
Okay.
Let's just go to the DC residence guy, man. Let him handle this one.
Don't put that on me. You can have that. Don't put that on me.
So let's real quick. Let's dive into it. So I don't know if this was real or not, but apparently this took place in Times Square, where the official announcement of Black Adam was announced in all of Times Square. Like all the screens were changed. I don't know if it was somebody's, whatever, if it really happened. But then The Rock said, we're starting filming. We've been talking about this for like 14 years or so. and they're finally starting to film. Now, Black Adam is a very complex character. I don't think Black Adam fits in this Shazam universe at all. So that is where I'm very nervous about.
Now when Megan Good is playing a tall black girl with superpowers, like I'm really excited. No, it does not fit.
I don't see. And Travis, I'm going to bring you in because you say you like Shazam.
I loved it. Yeah,
I did too.
Can that fit in this Shazam universe?
I think, honestly, one part of me says that it'd be smart if they work Shazam like how the first few minutes of if you work Black Adam rather, how they first work Shazam, because in Shazam, in the beginning when you meet the guy who was first approached by the wizard, that's kind of not like the rest of the movie in a way. His scenes were kind of, I don't want to say dark, but they weren't as kid friendly as all the Shazam scenes and stuff like that. So I'm hoping. Right, so you said what?
You represent all DC fans right here. At first, I like the movie, but I'm trying to it was that first scene was not that deep and not that dark. Come on,
everything was goofy. The whole movie was goofy.
No, but what I'm saying is, how can I say it? What I'm saying is, basically, what I'm saying is, in one aspect of me, I think they should go with that approach. That's what I'm trying to say. Not that I wouldn't for a Black Adam movie, obviously, but they should go with that approach because how can Black Adam fit into that universe? Now, the other side of me is saying, nah, DC's they're gonna F it up. They're gonna make Shazam one way, make Black Adam one way, and who knows at this point if they're gonna be in the same universe? Who knows if they're gonna be in the same storylines? Who knows? Because DC just like throwing darts at just like different boards and everybody pointing a different direction of where to go, you know? So it's kind of like, right now, I'm saying if they want to kind of compete with Marvel, make Black Adam fit in Shazam universe. I don't care how you do it, but make it happen. But since I know DC, I don't think they're gonna do it.
I'll say that I think they're gonna try to, only because they cast The Rock as Black Adam, and The Rock is too big of a character to try to go into like a.
Do you think DC cares? They killed Ryan Reynolds.
So
right, like
and Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck.
Keep in mind too, that Black Adam is kind of like an ancient Egyptian story.
Mm-hmm.
His origin. And remember, The Rock played the Scorpion King.
Don't do that. Don't do that to him. We also try to forget that.
I think it's gonna be like that, but I think it's gonna be like that.
But it's gonna bring back shades of that. So
yeah, and nostalgia and all that kind of stuff. So DC is riding on The Rock's fame. That's it. I don't think they're gonna have a good story. I really don't.
Doesn't mean they won't kill him. Exactly, Trav.
I think they're just gonna try to ride on his fame, and I don't know, but I think we're past giving DC a chance now. I think that's the thing. We're past that, and DC doesn't realize we're past giving you guys a chance. We gave you BVS. We whatever to the first Suicide Squad, Justice League, Suicide Squad, whatever. But then Zack Snyder Justice League, I hate it with a passion. I didn't give them any excuse. Like he had 4 years to make this a compelling story. He didn't do it. So it's like at this point, you guys better be making these threes after every movie now, man. I'm not giving you guys any more chances to prove it.
I will say, I guess, kind of my issue with what the Shazam movie is and why I like it, but I also don't see it fitting with Black Adam because I like it because it was goofy. Like I think it found its space. But the fact that I seen Homeboy in a muscle suit was like, I definitely can't take you seriously. Right? And how could you put him up to The Rock, who legitimately is a muscle suit, right? Like somebody can wear The Rock.
Yeah. Like the thing about it though, The Rock has been in a lot of like those Kevin Hart movies with him. You know what I'm saying? So
the issue is not The Rock and his humor; it's the style of it. Like you can't mesh these styles anymore.
Not with this character.
Yeah. Everybody, remember at the end of that movie when they all got the powers or whatever, like everyone had a power suit and it looked like they was wearing fake muscles. You can't put that up against the
Yeah, I hated that so much.
Yeah. I liked it because of the goofiness. You know what I mean? It's like don't take me too serious.
I liked it. I gave it
Yeah,
that. But
right.
it just doesn't fit with anything else. You're not about. Look, I'm about to go watch a movie with my wife. You're not about to get my pressure up. And I was in space. We're talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
On that note,
Sam's had to talk about DC. You just had to talk about it.
We're going to a whole
listen, we started off on such a high note. I wanted to try to bring it down the middle, and then I want to try to bring it to where I'm assuming everybody is feeling right now about DC. But hey, listen, at the end of the day, please go out there, check out these movies, check out these shows. We're still in a pandemic, so please do it safely. If you're doing it in the movie theaters or if you're doing it at home, me personally, I'm probably never going back to the movie theaters ever again because everything everything is streaming now. So
for $80, I'm about to get Black Widow in my own crib when I want to. Don't have to stay on anybody's line. Like,
I'm just saying. But nevertheless, please go and check out these things. Support, local artists as well. Comic book stores still sell paperback comic books. Grab them, get them. You never know what they're going to cost in the future. You never know what you could pass down to generations. All right. I want to thank these gentlemen for joining tonight and giving us a constructive, entertaining conversation. We will be revisiting the Snyder Cut. I promise you. I want to try to get all these gentlemen here alongside our guests that we had in around that time because I did watch it and I got some fire to blaze. So it's going to be a no holds barred. I'm probably going to come in, no shirt. We taking it to the streets on this one. Okay. All right.
I'm here for it.
But yeah, Colors Everything. Where can people find you real quick?
Right now, you pretty much can find me on IG. Do a lot of different things, man. Also, if you're looking for spiritual content, definitely check me out. We're doing a lot of stuff with young adults. And you see my art and stuff on there. So Colors Everything on IG. Peace, love, and chicken grease, y'all.
One of my friends, followers, they hit me up and they said, "Hey, I was peeping Colors Everything." He was saying some spiritual stuff, and I was digging that. I was like, "Oh, I gotta let him know that." So, Brickman Mosaics, if you see him, he was checking your stuff out, man. So that's what's up. I'm Legend. Where can people find you, bro?
Find me on IG. I am Legend.
All right, that's what's up. Travis, where can people find you, bro?
Yeah, same with me. Deceptively awesome. Deceptively_awesome is on IG. Come follow me.
That's what's up. You know who I am, your boy Corey. Follow me, Sam's Brago. You know what I do, the Brothers Who Brick. That's our Lego stuff. Thank you guys again. For all those out there, take care, be safe, and until next week, until next time, we'll catch you later. Peace.
Peace.